me get that going. There we go. Just want to make sure I got the record going. Hey, I want to put out a couple of notes real quick before we get going. One for the new people that are coming on to taking over as the council members or the chapter presidents and everything like that. Please work on your DOOs and get those into us as soon as possible. If you are still trying to fill in positions, just send us an email with the current email address for the chapter president so we can have steady communication with them until you get that DOO in. As soon as you get your DOO, please send it up through the proper channels. Murphy Green for the 4XX chapters, Rich Mansfield for the 3XX chapters, and then our Regional 5 email. I will send that out in an email again to everybody. So, but please get that going. And if you have any questions or if you need any assistance with those, please let us know. That's what we're here for. Anybody on the council is willing to help you out. You have myself as the president, Steve Haro, which is with prior commitments this morning, as the vice president, Murphy Green, Regional 4 director, Rich Mansfield for Regional 3, Sharon Nichols, trustee, also the training manager, you can say, for the division. Then you have Jen Hall, Michael Shelley is another trustee, and Casey Hardy is our membership one. So we're all out here. We all have diverse portfolios throughout AFSA, so we can also help you out on anything. All right. The PAC, I'm just putting it out there now, and be an email coming out on that one too. The PAC is a go down in Orlando. That is going to be the 24th of July through the 28th of July. Okay. Just got done with mid-year. It's a go. More information, more emails going to be coming out this month about the payments and registrations and everything. So, and we are the host division. Another email from the division is going to be coming out, looking for volunteers on that one. We have our meeting next week, more to come out. That's it for right now. You know, we had mid-year was good. I'm going to be sending out some emails that came out for the AFSA rewards, the updated legislative program platform, and some membership ideas going to be coming out. Okay. Does anybody have any questions right now? Guess not. All right. All right, Sharon, you ready?
All right, before I start this, I just want to say, once I go into presenter screen, I no longer have anybody's cameras to let me know if you're going to talk. So just interrupt, because I tend to talk pretty quickly. This one's going to be about quarterly training. Mr. Mansfield and Mr. Green, please correct me if I go astray during this. See if I can remember how to share screen here. My computer, of course, is not cooperating right now. There it goes. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can.
All right. So the AAF's reports are quarterly. They're how you get your quarterly payments back from headquarters. And they also show, they're like a bullet tracker for those of us that are used to that in the Air Force. They're a good way to keep up with what your chapter's done. The first part is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to pick your quarter you're in, make sure that your president and treasurer's information is what's shown on the DOO. For your chapter's FEIN, if you don't know what it is from the previous council, reach out to your regional director. They will have it. The chapter numbers are 4 digits, so just throw the 0 in front of it. So for, let's use 404, it'd be 0404. For section 2, this is everything your chapter's done, meetings, locations, number of attendees. You'll see the add comments block, or delete comments is what the screen or the PowerPoint actually shows. You can add more lines than what you see. Show your topics you've discussed. If you've had a vote, put in there what you voted on. And then section 2 is anything that your chapter hosted, either financially or in general with other groups on base. You're going to show the expenses in another section of the report. So this is just going to be the date, what you actually did, and then what it cost the chapter. But it'll be repeated. All right, unlike most forms, I'm going to say this a couple times, this form does repeat itself. So just because you say it once doesn't mean you won't say it again. So don't assume that if you covered it, you're good to go. All right, membership activities in section 3. These are your goals. The chapter sets these. A good number I was given as a chapter president is 10%. For some chapters, that is very attainable. Let's go with Keesler. They get a bajillion recruits a year that come through. If you've got a very small chapter, be honest with your goals. There was discussion, and maybe somebody can jump in here. There was discussion about headquarters setting a percentage. I have not seen that come out officially.
Hey, Sharon, let me chime in
Yeah.
on that one real quick. So the International Membership Committee, we just submitted everything for membership goals. We worked on everything with the other division presidents to come up with the goals for each chapter. So I just got that back this week from IMC, and that will also be coming out to all the chapter presidents. So the goals are attainable. If you hit them, outstanding. If you go above them, that's even better. But it's there are attainable goals that each chapter can reach. Thank you.
For the newer chapters out there, if you have questions on ideas, we do have a lot of ideas put on documents and places and things that some chapters have had successful. So don't think that you have to come up with every plan and goal yourself. Another important thing about section 3 is the reports are only as accurate as the information headquarters gets. So keep tabs of what your guys recruit and retain and make sure that your reports reflect that. There have been occasions where we've had to email headquarters and say, hey, Joe Blow was retained and we're not showing him on our retain roster, and they'll fix it for you. You can't wait a year to do it, but usually if you're within 30 days of doing it, I know Ms. Hill will help you out up at headquarters. All right, section 4, legislative activities. This is to show anything your chapter's done when it comes to the legislative arena. Law weeks, if members have contacted elected officials, so this is a good question to ask during chapter meetings. And if you got a result from any of them, add it in there. Sometimes you don't get them right away. All right, section 5 and 6. Section 5 is fundraising. This is anything your chapter did to raise money, the date, net income. So I would take away any expense you had to do it. Events here will also be reported in another section. All right, section 6. This is for anything that's not been covered in the sections above it. So we've used these if we didn't think something fits. So say you went and helped top 3 run an organization and you didn't think it fit in sections 2 through 5. This is a good place to put it just to show what your chapter is doing it. Yeah. So all right, real quick summary. Items will be repeated. Money earned is money received or money you should, like the check is in the mail. So like I put in the example, you did a virtual 5K, you knew that you raised $500, the check is coming to you, you can put that on there. But if you don't know the amount and you don't know when it's coming, don't claim it. You can always put it on the next AAF if it shows up. All right, section 7. So this is your income list. So this is where you put your administrative rebates. This is where you'll put what AFSA sent you for your quarterly payments. List any event that's been accomplished and the gross amount received on a separate line. You have 5 lines. So make it fit in what you do. Like there's an example on a document we're going to post to the Div2 website that Mr. Green gave me. So say 404, I know, goes and does NASCAR parking for several events at a time. So instead of putting race 1, race 2, race 3, just put NASCAR race and then cumulatively add it together as it pertains to that quarter. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I think that that's totally accurate, Sharon. One thing I would want to point out is that, we do operate on what's called the cash basis of accounting within AFSA, and that simply states that we don't count income or report income on our financial report until the money has actually been received by the chapter. So if you've got a fundraiser and checks in the mail, you can list it under the fundraiser up in, I believe, section 6, section 5, as income from a fundraising activity during that quarter, but do not include it on the financial portion down below in section 7 until you have actually received the money. It's a good way to get your reports out of sync. Back to you,
Okay.
Sharon.
All right, so contributions, this is anything the chapters received, interest, so checking account interest. Some chapters have savings accounts, so do that too. Miscellaneous is income from other sources that doesn't tie to something else. So this is going to be where if you have a situation like that, just ask your regional directors. We have some very smart guys doing this that have been around AFSA long enough to know where to put things, and they'll answer questions. You just got to ask them. And then, as Mr. Manfield says, the only income that should be reported in this section is something you physically have in hand or you have deposited into your account. All right, section 8 is your expenses. So awards, some chapters, sponsor ALS awards. This is a good place to put that. If your chapter gives out awards, another place. Contributions are there again. So anywhere you guys have done donations, conventions, meetings, fundraising activities. So this is stuff that you spent in the name of fundraising. And then office expense. So if your chapter is buying stuff for like banners, I know a couple chapters bought those this year, or the decorative tablecloths for if you're doing events, or even though we are AFSA signs, if you pay for them through headquarters AFSA, that's a good place to put it. Social functions. So this block, some chapters, instead of you're supposed to host at least one a quarter meeting. So some chapters are doing one a month, and then one of the quarterly meetings is a fun event. So I'll go bowling or do pizza or do a non-formal meeting where people can just come out and have a good time. That's a good place to put social functions and what it costs the chapter to host it. You have blank lines. It is a set amount of blank lines. What some chapters do is they make this match their budget. So if you have budget tabs, for lack of a better word, that don't fit those, type them in there and just make sure you're consistent through every AAF for that year. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? Or corrections? All right, so section 9. This is the beginning fund balance of each year. So take your ending fund balance from the previous AAF, the last group executive council did, and that'll be your fourth quarter number minus differences. The key that catches a lot of chapters off guard with this section, see that red 0 underneath the IE total? That zero's got to be a 0. A lot of chapters want to make this match their banking account. This particular line does not always match your banking account. Matter of fact, I rarely see this match your banking account because you're totaling things that are happening. Okay, so just some quick notes for 7, 8, 9. Don't change, delete, or omit financial figures reported in previous reports. What's there is there. This is a running record. Starting with second quarter report to the fourth quarter report, use the previous quarters. And like I said before, it will not always match your checking account. All right, section 10, financial institution, account balance. This is where you put your legitimate account balance. And then your signatures, you can wet sign these, scan them in, send them in. You can digitally sign them. They just need to be signed and dated by the president and the treasurer. There is a button at the bottom of the form that says submit to division president. Don't do it. It doesn't work anyways. I don't actually know where the form goes if you click that button because I've tested it a couple times. There's a random email address with a couple emails from me in it. The print form button works the same way as regular print. All right, any questions before I go into file names and due dates? All right, when you send reports to your regional directors, 1 report per email. The subject line matches the file type. So your annual budget, in bold, you'll see F0499, calendar year 20XX annual budget. So the F is your chapter in 4-digit format. Change the X's to the year, annual budget. That's your file name and your subject line on your email. The due date is on there, so 15 January of each year. Annual audit's the same. The directory of officers, excuse me. So your initial one is due the 15th of February, but anytime you change an officer after that, you're supposed to send in a DOO within 15 days of that change. So let's say the chapter president PCS is in March and you address a new one, you have 15 days after the new one selected to get a DOO into your regional director. The group filing forms due November 15th. If I was going to give any suggestion, I would tell the chapter presidents to create a calendar and put a date on there that tells you when to send these forms in, because some of these will catch you off guard. And the first 3 months of running any chapter is a lot of sending in forms and data and asking questions and just figuring it out. All right, AAFs. So the 4th quarter one is due January 15th. First quarter is due, so this says due 30 April. That 30 April is due to headquarters. So we're going to tell you, get it to your regional director by the 15th of the month. So 15 April for the first quarter, 15 July for second, and 15 October for third. Mr. Green, Mr. Mansfield, any corrections to that?
No, Sharon, you're absolutely correct. And the reason for getting it to your regional director by the 15th of the month is that if there are any problems or discrepancies with the report, I can't speak for the other regional directors, but I do have some other commitments and I don't necessarily check email every day. And if in the event there's a problem with your report and has to go back to you for corrections, you need time to sort out what needs to be fixed, get it back to me or the other regional directors, who in turn then have to validate your reports and forward them to the division president, who doesn't necessarily sit at his computer waiting for reports to come in either. So, give us the time to work your reports and, ensure that we get them into headquarters on time. If need be, I've called chapters at 7, 8 o'clock at night on the date the report's the last date that they can go in to help them work through their correction. But let's try to avoid that. Thank you.
All right. Penalties for late reports. So chapter of the year, any chapter that is late for an AAF loses 5 points per quarter. Additionally, if you have any missing reports of any type, annual budget, the annual tax, you become, if it's not turned in by the 31st of December of that calendar year, you are completely ineligible for chapter of the year. Quarterly payments, if you're not on time, if headquarters doesn't receive them by the 30th, you don't get that quarterly payment and there is no backtracking it. So it's also on all parties involved to make sure you see that your report's moving. So let's use Mr. Mansfield, for example. If I am a 300 series chapter and I send my report into him and by, I don't know, the 25th, I don't see, because he will CC you on it going up the chain. If I don't see it moving, I might reach out and go, hey, are we good to go on this quarterly report? After a certain number of missed reports, headquarters and or the division can decide to disband your chapter and disperse your members to the nearest chapter. So there have been chapters that have shut down and headquarters will just look at addresses and move them. You definitely don't want your chapter disbanded due to reports. All right, submitting reports. So as Jeff said earlier, these are the email addresses and the contacts for right now for who to send them to. Like I said, 1 report per email, subject line should match the file name. It is important that you don't send from a .mil email address because, as we know, Air Force networks like to strip attachments or encrypt them or turn them into these psychotic text files that make it go wrong.
Yeah, and in addition to that, if we send a reply back to a .mil address, it may get blocked at the server level as coming in from the outside world. and you'll never get our response notifying you that there's a potential problem with one of your reports. So please, when you send reports into regional directors, send them from a non.mil address. Thank you.
All right, so that's all of it. Before I go to questions, on the AFSA Division II website, this PowerPoint's uploaded along with 4 PDFs that break this down if you're not a PowerPoint person. The email addresses are all in there, step-by-step instructions, just like what was in here. If you have any questions at all, any of us will help. The AAFs tend to be the things that daunt new chapter members or exec councils the most because they are a little different. Does anybody have any questions or corrections? I'm done.
Sharon, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Murphy, do you have anything to piggyback on?
Just one thing. On your AAF reports, especially for chapters who are contemplating nominating themselves for chapter of the year, if the nomination awards of nomination package cannot be verified, and we use the quarterly AAF reports to verify the items that you put in your award package. If you do not include those in your AAF, then your points are reduced. You have a lower chance of winning. So make sure that you put everything that you do in your AAF. That's all I have, Jeff.
Thank you, Murphy. Rich, do you have anything to add?
No, just I fully agree with what Murphy just stated. It makes it a lot easier for us when we're scoring awards packages when we can verify that information from your AAF. And from a chapter perspective, if you document all of your activities on each quarter's AAF, when it comes to the time to put your award package together, all you've got to do is look back at your AAFs, and you've got a wealth of information you can use to fill out your nomination form. So.
Hey, one more thing. There's no such thing as too much information on these things. Go, for those of us that still wear a uniform and do this with our airmen, go old school airman bullet tracker style. Like if you did anything, put it on there and let us tell you it's too much. I guarantee you there'll be very few times that somebody says, hey, don't put that on there. Jeff, do you want to show the Division II website where all the training is, since it's all uploaded already?
Do you have it up right now?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
See if I can be outsmarted again. Can you see it?
I can, yes.
All right. So on the Division II website, you'll see just like we did last training. These are all the training we've done. The top 4 right here, I don't know if you see my mouse moving, parts 1, 2, 3 and preparing are the PDF versions of the training we just did. And the very last link is the PowerPoint. So, and all the information is the same, with the exception that the contact for Division 5 on the PDFs may have a different name, and I corrected it in the PowerPoint. That's it. Do any of the chapters have any concerns or questions while we're all on here? I'll cut you off, Jeff.
No, that's what I thought. I unmuted myself. Sorry. Ben, do you have anything to say?
About the AAF or just in general?
In general.
So something I've noticed here recently at Eglin, it's probably in the last couple months, every time I've gone put either recruit or retainer in, it hasn't taken the recruit or retainer number. So it actually takes pulling the report to see, like it updates the individual, like their status within our organization, but it doesn't give credit to the person that did the recruit or the retain. And I've had to hit up HQ a few times, I think probably 5 or 6 times in the last 3 months, maybe, to get that fixed. So
How are they doing it? Are they doing it on paper or computer?
it's computer. I'm over their shoulder. So I know it's I know it's the right number. It's being done the right way. So that's like I don't know if it's a glitch in the system, so to speak, because it's not I guess the human factor of maybe a new recruit is kind of taken out of it when I'm over their shoulder. It just never goes in. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
We noted with headquarters last pack that the online recruit retain wasn't updating even when you typed in a number. I know the international president made comments about they were trying to figure out what was going on because it was hit or miss.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're going through here.
Hey, Ben, I'll bring that up. I'll shoot up to, I'll send an email up to Brenda Hill and the IMC to see what they got going on. Because I do notice that it's not just with you guys, it's everybody all the way across the board where it will be a hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes it will take, and that's why Sharon said it the best. Keep a track of everybody that you guys recruit and who recruited them. So when you go pull your reports, your quarterly reports, monthly reports, and see where your membership's at, and it shows that, cool, Ben Hardy only recruited 4 people, but in reality, you did 10, and that's where you just drop a note back up there. Hey, can you check on these? Sometimes the system works on perfect. Sometimes the system doesn't. But I will reach out to headquarters on that one for you.
Can I make one more suggestion? If the chapters decide to do a chapter specific recruit retain events, which you can do through headquarters, you just got to set it up. If you're going to blast that on social media, put in social media one person's membership number. So for example, if chapter 554 was going to do it, put the president's or the membership committee person. That way, if somebody does it online by themselves and you start seeing that same number recruiting, that the online part's working, and it's a good way to track it.
All right, we'll do. Yeah, my new membership trustee is phenomenal, and he's on top of them. So he's catching them immediately, and he can kind of track down who the recruit is. So that's a blessing because membership, as we all know, is difficult. So he's on top of it, and that's kind of why we're starting to see see it come through. And it's, he's selling the Yeti cooler for his, recruitment team. So he's trying to make sure they go in there and get updated. That way they have their, the right chance to get the Yeti.
Are you guys doing a special fundraiser just for the Yeti cooler out of your chapter? Or are you talking about the Set It Forever one?
The Set It Forever from HQ.
Okay. Yeah, I check on that for you. Ben, if you can shoot me an email on the recruiter and recruiter ID sometime this weekend, so I can go and do the digging on it for you.
For which one?
For the ones that you're having issues with?
So they've all been rectified since.
Okay.
But whenever it happens, I just shoot some email correspondence with Lisa back and forth.
Gotcha.
At HQ, she gets them hooked up right away. But 1 or 2, it's a fall through the crack. 4 or 5 starts to question if it's a trend.
Gotcha.
I'm secretly getting all the credit for them, Ben. That way I can get your Yeti cooler.
Well, I have enough Yeti coolers. I'm just gonna get it and then sell it locally as a fundraiser for our chapter. We'll double dip.
All right. Too funny. Does anybody else have any questions or anything coming up? Anything you would like to talk about real quick? I know Jen Hall just jumped on board. She was out there doing a 5K this morning or a 10K this morning with her senior NCO class. Good morning, Jen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm hot and sweaty, but it was just a 5K and it was good. Anybody have anything for communications?
All right. Guess not. All right. Sounds good. Hey, write down these dates. Got a couple of other dates for you guys so you can start planning them. Might as well start now, right? We're in March. So the Legislative Awareness Week is scheduled for the 3rd through the 9th of October, 2021. Okay. The POW MIA week, it is the 12th through the 18th of September. And the POW MIA Day will be on September 17th. All right, so the Legislative Awareness Week is the 3rd through the 9th October. And the POW MIA Recognition Week is the 12th through the 18th of September, with the POW MIA Day on September 17th, 2021. All right. Also, our division conference is scheduled for 17 April, which is a Saturday morning, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. So the Zoom link and everything will be coming out, more information. We're just finalizing stuff right now. So that will be everything else coming out. So that will be that Saturday. That day we talk about division business, talk about elections. So I know for the elections coming up, we do have the vice president coming up, trustee positions and everything. So if you're thinking about running for a division position, start working on your resume and your letter of intent. We'll send out copies of those so we can have that. And then these will be for 2-year terms. So when the email comes out, please push it out to your chapters. So, because you might have somebody in your chapter that might want to run for a division position that has previous experience. Okay. That's it. Any other questions? All right. Just recap. Please work on your DOOs. Please work on your audits and budgets. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Sharon, thank you again for the training. Everybody have a wonderful day. Be safe, and we shall see you guys next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Where's sunscreen,
you.
Ben?
You did say, sir, you did say this was going to be recorded. Is this going to be placed somewhere or sent somewhere?
I'm going to push it on the, matter of fact, let me stop recording.